the field that we decided to do it in, the choice we made was music. Now, why music? Well, we love music, and it's always good to do something you love. More importantly, music's a part of everyone's life. Everyone. Music's been around forever. It will always be around. This is not a speculative market. And because it's a part of everyone's life, it's a very large target market all around the world. It knows no boundaries. But interestingly enough, in this whole new digital music revolution, there is no market leader. There are small companies like Creative and Sonic Blue, and then there's some large companies like Sony that haven't had a hit yet. They haven't found the recipe. No one has really found the recipe yet for digital music. And we think not only can we find the recipe, but we think the Apple brand is going to be fantastic because people trust the Apple brand to get their great digital electronics from. So let's look at portable music. Let's look at the landscape. The first thing, if you want to listen to music portably, you can go out and buy a CD player, right? That's one way to go, about 10 to 15 songs. Or you can buy a flash player. Go out and buy one of those. You can buy a MP3 CD player, or you can buy a hard disk-based jukebox player. These are the four choices for portable music right now. So let's take a look at each one of those. A CD player costs about $75, holds 10 to 15 songs on a CD. That's about $5 a song. You can go buy a flash player, pay about double that, about $150, holds the same 10 to 15 songs, or about $10 a song. You can go buy an MP3 CD player, and an MP3 CD, which you can burn on your computer, costs about $150, but holds 150 songs. So you get down to $1 a song. Or you can go buy a hard drive jukebox player for about $300. It holds about 1,000 songs and costs about 30 cents a song. So we looked at this and studied all these, and that's where we want to be. That is where we want to be. And we are introducing a product today that takes us exactly there, and that product is called iPod. iMac, iBook, iPod. What is iPod? iPod is an MP3 music player, has CD quality music, and it plays all of the popular open formats of digital music, MP3, MP3 variable bitrate, WAV, and AIFF. But the biggest thing about iPod is it holds 1,000 songs. Now, this is a quantum leap because it's for most people, it's their entire music library. This is huge. How many times have you gone on the road with a CD player and said, oh God, the CD, I didn't bring the CD I wanted to listen to? To have your whole music library with you at all times is a quantum leap in listening to music. But the coolest thing about iPod is that your entire music library fits in your pocket. Okay? You can take your whole music library with you right in your pocket. Never before possible. So that's iPod. There are three major breakthroughs in iPod. Let's take a look at each one of them. The first one is it's ultra portable. So if we're going to keep 1,000 songs on iPod and it fits in your pocket, how do we do this? How do we possibly do this? Well, we start off with an ultra thin hard drive. We've got a 1.8-inch diameter hard drive that's 0.2 inches thick. Super thin. And that hard drive is 5 gigabytes in capacity. 5 gigabytes, which holds 1,000 songs at 160 kilobit rate, which is a very high quality rate of MP3 compression. Very high quality. 1,000 songs on this 5 gigabyte drive. And we've built in 20-minute skip protection. That's not 20 seconds, 20-minute skip protection. So you can take iPod bicycling, mountain climbing, jogging, you name it, and you're not going to skip a beat. So we've got this 5 gigabyte drive that holds 1,000 songs. How do we get the 1,000 songs on to iPod? We don't want to wait, so we've built in FireWire. Now, Apple, as you know, invented FireWire. We should FireWire on every computer we make. It's built into iPod. It's the first and only music player with FireWire. Why? because it's fast. You can download an entire CD into iPod in 5 to 10 seconds. An entire CD. So let's take a look at how it compares with USB. 5 to 10 seconds for FireWire to load a CD. On a USB player, you're talking 5 minutes. Let's talk about 1,000 songs now. On iPod with FireWire, it is under 10 minutes. On a USB player, it is 5 hours. Can you imagine that? You get your USB player, you want to load 1,000 songs, you get to watch it for 5 hours while it loads the songs. Under 10 minutes with iPod. It's 30 times faster than any other MP3 player. So, huge win. Now, it doesn't matter how many songs you have with you if your battery's dead, right? So we have built in an extraordinary battery into iPod. 10 hours of battery life, and that is 10 hours of continuous music. We're using a rechargeable lithium polymer battery. This is a more advanced battery than we even use in our portable computers. It's the most advanced battery we've ever shipped. And you can recharge this 10-hour battery in 1 hour to 80% of its capacity on a fast charge. 1 hour. But maybe the coolest thing is that, you know, FireWire, the FireWire cable carries all the data from the Mac to iPod, but FireWire also has power on it. And so when you plug in to your Mac, it actually charges the iPod over that single FireWire cable. So you don't have another charging cable to worry about. It charges over FireWire every time you plug into your Mac. Now you might say, well, what happens if I'm on the road with my iPod and I didn't bring my Mac with me and my battery's running low? What do I do? Well, we got a really cool charger that ships as part of iPod too. And this charger has a FireWire port on it. So you take your FireWire cable and just plug it right into the charger and plug it into the outlet and charge iPod wherever you happen to be where there's an outlet. So 10 hours of continuous music playback with a remarkable new battery technology. Now you might be saying, well, this is cool, but you know, I've got a big hard disk in my portable, let's say my iBook. I'm running iTunes, I'm really happy, I got FireWire on my iBook. I don't quite get 10 hours of battery life, but iBook's got better battery life than any other consumer portable. So what's so special about iPod here? It's ultra portable. An iBook is really portable, but this is ultra portable. And let me show you what I mean. iPod is the size of a deck of cards. A deck of cards. It is 2.4 inches wide, it is 4 inches tall, and it is barely over 3/4 of an inch thick. This is tiny. It also only weighs 6.5 ounces. That is lighter than most of the cell phones you have in your pockets right now. So this is what's so remarkable about iPod. It is ultra portable. We didn't stop there. iPod has got Apple design. We've got one of the best design teams in the world, and they have done a remarkable job. And let me show you. This is what iPod looks from the side. Again, about 3/4 of an inch thick. I'm going to show you the back first because I'm in love with it. It's stainless steel. It's really, really durable. It's beautiful. And this is what the front of it looks like. Boom. That's iPod. I happen to have one right here in my pocket, matter of fact. There it is, right there. So, this amazing little device holds 1,000 songs, and it goes right in my pocket.
Today, we're going to focus on the iPod mini. Now, the iPod mini is what all of our competitors have their sights focused on. Why? Well, it's obvious. Because the iPod mini is the most popular MP3 player in the world. It's the most popular iPod, and that makes it the most popular MP3 player in the world. So that's the one everybody's focused on. Well, today, we're going to do something pretty bold. Today, we're going to replace it. We're going to replace it with something new. Now, let's go back to the beginning, because we started this all with 1,000 songs in your pocket, right? We started it with the original iPod. And then we carried 1,000 songs in your pocket over to the iPod mini. Well, now we're going to replace the iPod mini with a new player, an entirely new ground-up design that also has 1,000 songs in your pocket. And it's called the iPod Nano. The iPod Nano is the biggest revolution since the original iPod. A lot of people have worked so hard on this over the last many, many months. And it is my privilege to show it to you now. 1,000 songs in your pocket, the iPod Nano. So, let's get a camera. I've got a pocket right here. Now, this pocket's been the one that your iPod's gone in, traditionally. The iPod and the iPod mini fit great in there. You ever wonder what this pocket's for? I've always wondered that. Well, now we know, because this is the new iPod Nano. All right, let's take a closer look at it. This is the new iPod Nano. It is breathtaking. You won't believe it until you hold it in your hands. 1,000 songs. An amazing color display. A click wheel. It is one of the most amazing products Apple has ever created. 1,000 songs in your pocket. Impossibly small. It's really small. Let me show you how small this is. This thing is thinner than a number 2 pencil. Thinner than a number 2 pencil. Now, let's go ahead and compare it to the original iPod. This is the original iPod that also held 1,000 songs in your pocket. Look at that. The iPod Nano is 80% smaller in volume than the original iPod. 80% smaller means it's 20% of the size. It's 1/5 the size of the original iPod that we shipped less than 4 years ago. Okay, let's compare it to the iPod mini. The iPod mini, an incredibly successful product. The iPod Nano is half the thickness. It's 62% smaller by volume. That means it's almost 1/3 the size of the iPod mini. Now let's take a look at some competitors. Some of their flash products here. Here's iRiver. Look at this. 68% smaller. It's 1/3 the size of a competing player that doesn't hold anywhere near the number of songs. Here's another one by a company called Creative. I think it's called their Zen player. Again, 69% smaller, 1/3 the size. Here's another one. I think this is the Zen Neon. 58% smaller, less than half the size. Here's a player from Samsung. Again, less than half the size, 59% smaller. Here's a Sony player. 67% smaller, 1/3 the size. Now let me compare it to something else, which isn't a competitor, which is a really cool product. This is the coolest phone on the market until today, with the iTunes phone, the Motorola Razr phone, right? Look at this, though. 66% smaller, 1/3 the size of the smallest phone on the market. That's how small this is. It's really small size. But it's got really big features. This is a full-featured iPod. So, first thing is, it's got that 30-pin dock connector like the iPod and the iPod mini, and so it plugs in to the entire universe of iPod accessories. And again, a gorgeous color screen. And music's the most important thing. But we've added some other things beyond just music. We've added photos. So you can have your whole photo library, up to 25,000 photos, and the color screen is pretty nice, very high resolution. And we've added some great things in extras. We have a new clock, which is set to Cupertino when we ship it, but you can put it to any major city in the world. But you can also add as many clocks as you want, and just scroll down and see them. And they go dark when it's nighttime, and have however many clocks you want. Of course, we have games. We have beautiful calendars. We have some new things, too. We have a lap timer, a stopwatch and a lap timer, so you can do some really nice lap times, several of them. And we have a screen lock. If you're going to have your contacts and calendars on, you might want to lock your screen when you, and you can do that. And the way you do it is you set it with the click wheel. You turn the click wheel, it turns the dial, you set the lock. Now, some people are going to forget anything, so they're going to forget their combination. When you take your iPod Nano back and you dock it with the computer that it's synced to, it automatically opens the lock. So you're not going to be stranded. So these are just a few of the features of the new iPod Nano, a full-featured iPod. And yet all of this weighs 1.5 ounces, 42 grams. That is less than 8 quarters in your pocket. It's got USB 2 for really fast transfers, and it's got a 14-hour rechargeable battery. All in this tiny, tiny little package. Of course, it works on PCs and Macs. And there's one other thing. You know, white is our signature color for the iPod. They've been white since the very beginning, and of course, the iPod Nano's signature color is white as well. But we decided to do a second color because we tried it and it looked so cool. And so we're going to be offering the iPod Nano in black as well. White and a black model. So, 2 models, 2 colors. iPod Nano. The first model, 4 gigabytes of storage, holds 1,000 songs, priced at $249. The same price that we launched the iPod Mini at last year. Second model, 2 gigabytes, holds 500 songs for just $199. These are amazing, amazing prices for these features. And they are shipping today. We are shipping units as we sit here right now. They will be in stores in many parts of the world by this weekend. They will be in some stores as early as tomorrow afternoon or Friday. And this is what you look for. This is the shipping boxes. They are shipping out as we speak today. This is a day I've been looking forward to for 2.5 years. Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything. And Apple has been, well, first of all, one's very fortunate if you get to work on just one of these in your career. Apple's been very fortunate. It's been able to introduce a few of these into the world. In 1984, we introduced the Macintosh. It didn't just change Apple, it changed the whole computer industry. In 2001, we introduced the first iPod. And it didn't just change the way we all listen to music. It changed the entire music industry. Well, today, we're introducing 3 revolutionary products of this class. The first one is a widescreen iPod with touch controls. The second is a revolutionary mobile phone. And the third is a breakthrough internet communications device. So, three things: a widescreen iPod with touch controls, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a breakthrough internet communications device. An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. An iPod, a phone. Are you getting it? These are not three separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. And here it is. No. Actually, here it is, but we're going to leave it there for now. So, before we get into it, let me talk about a category of things. The most advanced phones are called smartphones, so they say. And they typically combine a phone plus some email capability, plus they say it's the internet, sort of the baby internet, into one device, and they all have these plastic little keyboards on them. And the problem is that they're not so smart, and they're not so easy to use. So if you kind of make a Business School 101 graph of the smart axis and the easy-to-use axis, phones, regular cell phones, are kind of right there. They're not so smart, and they're not so easy to use. But smartphones are definitely a little smarter, but they actually are harder to use. They're really complicated. Just for the basic stuff, people have a hard time figuring out how to use them. Well, we don't want to do either one of these things. What we want to do is make a leapfrog product that is way smarter than any mobile device has ever been and super easy to use. This is what iPhone is. Okay? So, we're going to reinvent the phone. Now, we're going to start with a revolutionary user interface. It is the result of years of research and development. And, of course, it's an interplay of hardware and software. Now, why do we need a revolutionary user interface? I mean, here's 4 smartphones, right? Motorola Q, the BlackBerry, Palm Treo, Nokia E62, the usual suspects. And what's wrong with their user interfaces? Well, the problem with them is really sort of in the bottom 40 there. It's this stuff right here. They all have these keyboards that are there whether you need them or not to be there. And they all have these control buttons that are fixed in plastic and are the same for every application. Well, every application wants a slightly different user interface, a slightly optimized set of buttons just for it. And what happens if you think of a great idea 6 months from now? You can't run around and add a button to these things. They're already shipped. So what do? It doesn't work because the buttons and the controls can't change. They can't change for each application, and they can't change down the road if you think of another great idea you want to add to this product. Well, how do you solve this? It turns out we have solved it. We solved it in computers 20 years ago. We solved it with a bitmap screen that could display anything we want, put any user interface up, and a pointing device. We solved it with the mouse, right? We solved this problem. So how are we going to take this to a mobile device? Well, what we're going to do is get rid of all these buttons and just make a giant screen. A giant screen. Now, how are we going to communicate this? We don't want to carry around a mouse, right? So what are we going to do? Oh, a stylus, right? We're going to use a stylus. No. No. Who wants a stylus? You have to get them and put them away and you lose them. Yuck. Nobody wants a stylus. So let's not use a stylus. we're going to use the best pointing device in the world. We're going to use a pointing device that we're all born with. We're born with 10 of them. We're going to use our fingers. We're going to touch this with our fingers. And we have invented a new technology called multi-touch, which is phenomenal. It works like magic. You don't need a stylus. It's far more accurate than any touch display that's ever been shipped. It ignores unintended touches. It's super smart. You can do multi-finger gestures on it. And boy, have we patented it. So, we've been very lucky to have brought a few revolutionary user interfaces to the market in our time. First was the mouse. The second was the click wheel. And now we're going to bring multi-touch to the market. And each of these revolutionary user interfaces has made possible a revolutionary product. The Mac, the iPod, and now the iPhone. So, a revolutionary user interface. We're going to build on top of that with software. Now, software on mobile phones is like baby software. It's not so powerful. And today, we're going to show you a software breakthrough. Software that's at least 5 years ahead of what's on any other phone. Now, how do we do this? Well, we start with a strong foundation. iPhone runs OS X. Now, why would we want to run such a sophisticated operating system on a mobile device? Well, because it's got everything we need. It's got multitasking. It's got the best networking. It already knows how to power manage. We've been doing this on mobile computers for years. It's got awesome security. And to write apps, it's got everything from Cocoa and the graphics, and it's got core animation built in, and it's got the audio and video that OS X is famous for. It's got all the stuff we want, and it's built right in to iPhone. And that has let us create desktop-class applications and networking, right? Not the crippled stuff that you find on most phones. This is real desktop-class applications. Now, you know, one of the pioneers of our industry, Alan Kay, has had a lot of great quotes throughout the years. And I ran across one of them recently that explains how we look at this, explains why we go about doing things the way we do, because we love software. And here's the quote. People who are really serious about software should make their own hardware. You know? Alan said this 30 years ago. And this is how we feel about it. And so we're bringing breakthrough software to a mobile device for the first time. It's 5 years ahead of anything on any other phone. There's something in the air. What is it? Well, as you know, Apple makes the best notebooks on the planet. The MacBook and the MacBook Pro. These are the standards in the industry by which competitive products are judged. Well, today, we're introducing a third kind of notebook. It's called the MacBook Air. Now, what is the MacBook Air? In a sentence, it's the world's thinnest notebook. So, what does that mean? Well, we went out and looked at all the thin notebooks out there. Most people think of these, the Sony TZ series. They're good notebooks, and they're thin. Right? This is what they look like. Side view there. We looked at all of them out there and kind of tried to distill the best of the breed of all of them. And, you know, they generally weigh about 3 pounds. They're, in this case, in the Sony's case, they're about 0.8 inches to 1.2 inches thin. They're a wedge shape. This is quite representative. They compromise, though, to get the weight down on things like the display. They have an 11 or 12-inch display, most of them an 11. They also compromise on the keyboard. Instead of putting full-size keyboards in, they make miniature keyboards. And they don't run them as fast as they could because their thermal envelopes don't support faster processors. So we looked at this and we said, what do we like and what do we think is a compromise here? We think the weight's a good target, 3 pounds. But we think there's too much compromising to get there. Too much compromising on thickness, too much compromising on less than a full-size display, less than a full-size keyboard, and we think you could put even more performance in one of these products. So, let's take a look at the thinness first. This is that Sony product. Again, one of the best in the field. 1.2 inches down to 0.8 inches. This is the MacBook Air. .76 inches down to an unprecedented 0.16 inches. Now, I want to point something out here. The thickest part of the MacBook Air is still thinner than the thinnest part of the TZ series. Okay? We're talking thin here. So, it's so thin, it even fits inside one of these envelopes that we've all seen floating around the office. And so let me go ahead and show it to you now. This is it. Let me take it out here. This is the new MacBook Air, and you can get a feel for how thin it is. Yeah, there it is. Look at this. All right. Amazing product here. Full-size keyboard, full-size display. And this is what it looks like. Isn't that amazing? So, let's go explore this in more detail. So again, it fits inside one of these envelopes. It's that small. This is what it looks like. Isn't that incredible? It's the world's thinnest notebook. You open it up. It's got a magnetic latch, so there's no hooks or things to catch on your clothing. And it's got a full-size 13.3-inch widescreen display. And the display is gorgeous. It's an LED backlit display. And not only does that save power, and not only does that give a really bright display, but it's instant on the minute you open it. On top of the display is a built-in iSight camera for video conferencing right out of the box. And you flip it down, there is a full-size keyboard. This is perhaps the best notebook keyboard we've ever shipped. It's a phenomenal keyboard, and it's full-sized. And with the ambient light sensor, it's also backlit. We've got a very generous trackpad, which is great. We've also built in multi-touch gesture support. Now, as you know, our current notebooks have some gestures built in. We've taken that even further. When you go to Preferences in the MacBook Air, you'll actually get to turn on all sorts of other types of gestures, and there's actually videos in there to show you what they are. So let me run through them with you now. You can double tap, and instead of moving the cursor around, you can move a whole window around, right? Just a nice time saver. So that's great. Here's another one. When you're in a photo, a large photo, you want to pan around. You can pan around with just 2 fingers like this. Another nice time saver. You want to rotate a photo? This works in iPhoto and all the other photo apps. Just rotate like this. Again, we've taken some of these things we learned in the iPhone, and now we're putting them in our notebook computers. Here's another one. If you want to go between photographs, next photo, just take 3 fingers and pan right, previous photo, pan left. And you want to zoom, you can pinch in and out. All right? Isn't that great? So, multi-touch gestures. Pretty amazing. And again, you can see how beautiful and thin this product is. Now, how did we fit a Mac in here? How did we do it? I'm still stunned that our engineering team could pull this off. Well, let's look at the bottom. Take off the bottom, and there's 3 things in here. It's a battery, a hard disk, and the electronics. On the hard disk, we went to 1.8-inch hard drives. We've shipped tens of millions of these in iPods. We know them well, and they're great. And so the MacBook Air ships with an 80-gigabyte hard disk as standard, and there's an option of a 64-gigabyte solid-state disk if you'd like it. These are a little pricey, but they are fast. But the real magic is in the electronics. This is a complete Mac on a board. Let's take off the cooling system. That's a complete Mac on this board. And you can think, well, okay, what's so special about that? Well, this is how big the board is. It's really tiny. And to fit an entire Mac on this thing was an amazing feat of engineering. And we didn't compromise on performance. MacBook Air uses the Intel Core 2 Duo. This is a really speedy processor. It's what we use in all of our other notebooks and our iMacs. 1.6 gigahertz standard, and there's an option to go to 1.8 gigahertz if you want. Now, we've got a great relationship with Intel. And both companies are engineering driven, and they both love to challenge each other. And Intel's got enormous amounts of technology. And so when we were building this product, we asked them to consider something. This is their amazing Core 2 Duo chip, right? It's a screamer. We said we want that chip in this product, but we need to go to smaller packaging. The same die on a smaller package. It sounds easy, it's not. They spent a lot of, invested a lot of engineering to create this for us. This is the same chip in a package that is 60% smaller. And it's one of the reasons we could build MacBook Air. And so I'd like to say thank you to Intel. And it's my pleasure to invite the CEO of Intel, Paul Otellini, on stage. I'd like to give him a round of applause.